Alright guys, so in this video I'm going to show you guys how to bring over a bow from ALS, and we're going to set it up. So these animations were made for the UE4, so I should be able to just export these and import them straight onto, I'm going to export the no curves one of the bow poses because I don't want those curves. I'm not going to use them. So I'm going to export these, and let me create a folder on the desktop. I don't need any of that. You could also do a bulk export, but it's going to put it in the same like subfolder structure as they are in here, in case any of you are wondering. So I'm going to go under the props folder, and I should have a bow in here. Now this actually has a bow draw sequence. I don't have anything set up for it to like we could set up some logic where it draws the bow. Yeah. I might show that in another video. I just want to show, I'm mostly trying to show you guys how to just handle this stuff, like setting up this stuff, like a new weapon, basically. So I'm going to export the actual bow mesh. Yeah, I'm not going to show you all how to do this right here this time. That's gonna be a bit involved. Also, I don't have any set up currently right now for actually synchronizing stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I could, but I would have to have an actual animation where he's drawing the bow, and that's the way they set that up. His hand is just like I think they have that set up to where maybe, I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you. I've never actually looked at that. Not on the bow, I haven't. Does he have a bow draw animation in here? No, he doesn't. Okay, so he's probably using he's probably setting an IK target or something. No, okay, no, he's not even doing that. Okay, I see. So if you go over here to the bow, I actually don't know how to, I haven't used this in so long. I don't know how to put him in the different camera mode. Let me see. Cycle overlay states, mouse wheel, MW. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so it's not perfectly synchronized. It just so happens, yeah, you'll see his hand does move around. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't really sure. I didn't even know there was a first person camera for that. It's pretty close though, just because of how it blends from one to the other. Okay, anyway. Let me see here. So I'll go ahead and I guess I'll go ahead and export that. I'm not sure I really want to do that, to be honest. It's gonna, let me see what he's got going on in here. It's probably just, okay. So he's setting the draw based off of something. Nothing on here, so he must be setting the variable directly from somewhere. Oh, you can't search while the game is running. He's setting the draw via the spine rotation. Okay. Interesting. All right, so let's just go ahead and get started here. It's getting late and I want to get this over with. So I'm going to import this onto the UE4 actually. I'm just going to create a new folder under here. I'm going to call it ALS Bow Poses. And actually, if you go into the mesh and you import animations, it'll actually go ahead and fill it in for you. You see? So it automatically selected the UE4 mannequin skeleton. We want import only animations. We don't need T0 as ref pose. Yeah, this should be fine. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to retarget these to our CC4 character. Oh man, I forgot they haven't. I was going to show you all this, but I'm going to try something though. I might still be able to. Steve. And I'll show you a trick. If you copy this directory right here and you paste it in here, it'll only show the animations under that directory. So we'll go to, I'll just put it under guns, bow, anims. I could call AnimSet, I guess, but okay. I might treat this as a rifle since there's only so many poses here. Now the bow, actually the bow aim sweep, we don't actually need that. So I don't do my stuff like that. In fact, I might show y'all how to do custom aim offset setups here later, but for now I'm not actually going to do that because it's actually pretty involved. So that may be something I do later. We actually don't need these two. We just need these poses. So he's got a few poses here. He's got one where he's running like this. And then if we go to asset details and we set this to step, it won't interpolate between frames. It'll just snap to the frame. We'll call this the relaxed pose. So we'll go to create asset, current pose, and under here, we'll call this bow relaxed. Actually, I should call this bow ready. Let me just call this bow ready. I guess that's more of a ready pose. And then we'll come back over here. And this is the bow draw pose. Current pose. Bow aim. And let's see. And then we have this pose right here. So yeah, we'll do 3 poses. And I'll call this the bow relaxed. Okay. So this part is going to be pretty involved, guys. This might actually take me a while to show you, and I haven't even eaten yet, but so I'm just going to leave that under anims. We'll make an AnimSet folder later because we have to retarget these after we fix them. But now I don't have that in this one. No, I do not. Okay. So I'm going to have to share that with you guys. I'm probably just going to leave that open for now. Let's see. Yeah, this one. I need to, I have some stuff that I need to move over here. Because I don't have a control rig. They haven't updated their control rig for 5.5, so there's no character creator control rig in here, but they do use the Unreal Engine 4 skeleton, so this other control rig should work for it. If you guys want this control rig, let me know. I didn't make it. Somebody else made it. I'll share that information with you here shortly, as soon as I can get this open. I don't know why my computer's running slow. It's running slow suddenly for some reason. I have 64 gigabytes of RAM, so it shouldn't be the number of windows I have open. Let me see here. Somewhere in here. Yeah, this guy here. All right, so I'm going to migrate this. Twisted Bytes control rig, that's who makes this. I fixed it though. So I'm going to not include this stuff here. Like I said, if you guys want this, you can request it from me. I'll send it to you. I didn't make it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to repurpose this. I fixed their twist, their control rig picker. I didn't fix the actual control rig, but I did update their little switches in there. I'm going to copy this over to rigs. Jesus Christ, dude, why is my computer running so slow? It's like my mouse is all sluggish, feeling sluggish and stuff. So I'm going to right click on this root and refresh and choose the old Steve rig. And hopefully this works. If not, then I won't be making this video. I won't be publishing it and you won't be watching it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go ahead and exit out of this stuff, guys. If I have to go back in there, I'll go back in there, but I need to close out of some of this stuff because for whatever reason it's running a bit sluggish. That doesn't really help much, but all right. So now I need to import the actual mesh. I'm just gonna put this under the blueprints folder. I'm just gonna call it bow. I guess I could put it under, you know what? Let's just put it under the same folder. So under here, I'll just make a new folder. I'll call it mesh. I'll just dock those under there too. I'll just call that. I'll go ahead and import this. Why not? And set it up here. No, that needs to be a regular sequence because we need to no, I think it does need to be a single frame, and the explicit time will be a variable. And what we'll do is we'll manually drive the animation. The thing is I don't have access right now to the aim state. I guess I could expose it. Yeah, we might skip that part of it. I don't know. We'll see. Either that or I'll just like change the animation based off of if he's aiming or not. But I'll have to update the bow on if he's aiming. That may be something I have to refactor a few things so that you guys could have like access to something like that. I don't know. I might end up having to add the bow to the actual project myself. But anyway, let's just go ahead and start setting this up. The main point is to show you guys how to create your own like linked anim layer, like with your own logic and stuff like that. So in order to do that, I first need to make these poses for it. And also this is going to allow you to actually see how I fix poses for the characters. So it's best just to make them for the character and then just retarget them over. But you can also retarget those poses that I already have to your character and then fix them and then retarget them back. So this part of it will work the same if you retarget from those, and then you'll be retargeting them back as I show you after I'm done. So the first thing we need to do is pull the bow out. So we have this bow skeletal mesh here, and we're just going to drag that into the scene, and we're going to add that over here. And we're going to right click and we're going to convert this to a spawnable actor so that when we come back in here, it'll still be in his hand. So if we need to modify this later, you know, that's the reason why I'm doing this. So I'll go to bow relaxed, attach it to that, and then attach it to the held object L. And then I'm going to zero that out, and you'll see it's not positioned properly in his hand, but I'm going to go into local space here, Okay, that was a bad idea because, oh no, it wasn't. Okay, yeah. And then we can move it using those arrows. But you'll see that if we make this a little smaller over here, you'll see we have this snapper. Over here, we can disable snapping and move it into his hand. And I think something like that would be appropriate. And then if I rotate in local space, then we can get it somewhere where it needs to be. And actually the fingers actually came out looking not bad for the, well, right there you'll see there's a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my control rig and I'm going to open up this editor utility widget. It's going to dock over here to the side because that's where I've been keeping it at. And then I'm going to refresh this, select this pose, and then enable this. And now we can see these fingers here. And this is in my left hand. And I believe this is the index finger. No, that's the pinky. This one's the index finger. Yeah. And I'm going to reset this. In fact, I might just go ahead and press this. Now, this makes it lag. I don't know why his lags so much, but it does. So I think I'll just go ahead and reset all of them, and then I'll position them, and then I'll create some poses. That way these poses are cached. So I'll say CC for Steve Bow relaxed. Yeah. And then I will hold down Control and deselect the thumbs, and then do this in local space, guys. Don't do this in global space. It'll twist the fingers all funny. And so we have that. Unfortunately, the finger controls on this, I mean, they are useful the way you did them, but they are limited in usefulness. So in this situation, we need to select these manually. And close those just a little bit more. Now I do have rotational snapping on. That's the reason why it's snapping. So I'm going to turn that off and just bring them out just a little bit. And that'll be the bow grip pose. So I'm going to actually come back over here and I'm going to press this. It's going to select them all again. And then I'm going to save that as a pose. And you can mirror these poses too. So if you wanted to make a hold and right hand set, then you could just mirror these poses and paste them. So that's my left hand grip. So you would say key, mirror, and then paste. Select, mirror, paste. So if I mirror and I select the controls, you'll see it selects those over there now. By the way, this selecting and pasting only works after you've refreshed this and selected your animation and enabled your finger controls. If your finger controls aren't visible here, it won't work. So I think this hand kind of looks okay. I think the thumb looks okay, but I don't like the other fingers. So I'm just going to manually do them. Yeah. And then I will select that manually because it's faster than selecting them from here. that's my relaxed grip or my hand relaxed pose. I'm just going to look and make sure that there's no funny looking little twisting on my wrist. Make sure that my wrists don't look weird. And my posture too. So there's the posture kind of looks weird right here, so I'm going to adjust the posture. In actuality, dude, I should have had you guys, I don't know why I said dude, but yeah. I actually should have had you do this on an additive layer. I always tend to do this. I don't know. It's like a bad habit I get into where sometimes I forget to create the additive layer, and then I start doing the pose, and then I can't undo stuff because I didn't do them from an additive layer. On an additive layer, you can delete this, and it'll go back to how it was. That's the reason why it's important to do things from an additive layer. So I'm just going to bend this forward and then bend this back. I'm thinking maybe bend it forward a little bit more. That'll give them a more sturdy looking, a less hunched over appearance. Yeah, and make sure that that he's not looking up or down. If so, then you might have to adjust the way he's looking. And I'm just going to check the shoulders, and I think that looks fine. So we only have to do this a couple of times. That looks fine. The legs and the feet are grounded. That's good. Okay, we're done with this one. So let me go back over here. That was the bow relaxed. Yeah, so you'll see it saves it here. If you need to get back into it, you can open level sequence. And you'll see he's holding the bow just like he was. That's because we made that spawnable. If you hadn't made that spawnable, it would be in the level. And if you deleted it from the level and you open this back up, it wouldn't be in his hand anymore. So let that be known. Now we're just going to do this one. And I need to drag that mesh back out here. And before we do anything, because I'll forget, I'm going to go ahead and make this an additive layer. That way I ain't got to worry about that. But there is a bug I'm going to let you know. Delete this last keyframe right here. It will cause finger issues. At least it has for me after adjusting the fingers. It'll cause the fingers to open and close rapidly as it goes back and forth between this frame and that frame. So even though this looks like one frame, it's actually two frames. This is a frame and this is a frame. So just letting you guys know, because otherwise you might be wondering why your stuff is twitching. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add and attach to the held object _L, and I'm going to save this because I haven't actually created my layerings, my stuff like I have for these guys. So we might actually want to go ahead and create that. So I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it layering, I guess I'll call it. Probably should have called it overlay, but that's fine. So I'm going to copy this stuff over here into this folder. And I'm going to search for M4A1 and batch rename that M4A1 bow. So this is going to be a left-handed bow. We're going to be making our own anim set. But we want this to be pointing to the bow. And we want this to be pointing to I'm going to call this hand L. We don't need a hand R offset. So I'm going to empty that one. So I think we're going to go ahead and add another anim state in here. Yeah, I might have to look into that. I've moved stuff around, so I don't know if I'll look into that. We're going to start off just filling out these two states, and then I'll look into adding another state, a relaxed state, because this is set up to support it, but I'm not sure if this is only being I think it is only being handled from. Yeah, I think I can show you guys how to add a relaxed state to here, so we can have 3 states. That wouldn't be too difficult, I don't think. So, all right, we have all of our stuff set up here. Now what I want to do is I want to fill this out. So we're going to go back to our anims. We're going to open up the relaxed. We're going to open up this level sequence. And we're going to select the bow and go into details. Then we're going to open up this and dock it over here. Then go to this, and I'm just going to copy this stuff over here. So this is going to be the offset for how he holds it. This offset right here is local to that socket that it's connected to. So when we come over here to this other one, we won't have to guess how he needs to hold it. I'm holding shift and right mouse to copy, shift left to paste. So it looks like I actually need to rotate that. So let's rotate it like that. We'll have to, I'm just going to Control Shift S to save all this stuff in case it crashes. And I'm just going to come back over here and I'm going to update the way he's holding it in this one. There we go. And make sure there's no issues. And I don't see any issues, so I think we're good. All right. Let's go ahead and finish fixing this one up. You'll see this one has problems around the wrist. I'll show you guys later how to set up a pose driver for fixing that by driving the twist bones based off of the hand's angular rotation. That's one way that I've figured out how to fix that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select this right here. We're going to actually add a constraint here. Now by default, these constraints allow offsets. We're going to press the plus button and set parent to this one. And if you right click, you'll see we have dynamic offset. Sometimes you want that to be false, but for this case, we actually want it to be true. So I'm going to leave it to be true. And then I'm thinking I'm going to move it out and maybe down a little. No, I don't want it to look too weird. Let's try rotating it. Make sure you're in local space when you rotate. And what I really want to do is I want to try to see if I can find a good pose where we're not having too much strain on that wrist. So you'll see how it strains right there. And right there it starts straining. And I think right there is actually probably, oops, it's probably about as good as we're going to get it without rotating it this way some more maybe. That causes strain on the other side. I think that's probably about as good as we're going to get it. You'll see the weights are kind of failing right here, and that's the reason why it looks funny. I'll do it like that. Yeah, my my voice just changed. I'm not sure if you realize that. I don't know. I seem to have some chest congestion. Now this stupid control right here is making it hard to see. Let me see if I can hide control shapes. There we go. Okay, that actually seems to end up looking the best, I think, but it kind of looks weird with his arm being so close to his body. I'm wondering if the layering might end up causing problems with it being like that. I'm wondering if maybe I try to do it more like this and seems to favor that angle, like right there, more. But I actually want it to be further out so I can rotate this a little. I was hoping if I did that, I could bring his arm out more, but no. Okay. Yeah, this is the hardest part about posing, is you have to try to be careful so that you can pose it in such a way that it looks right, but it doesn't cause constraint problems where those weights start failing. So you kind of have to make the weights happy while still keeping it looking decent. Man, dude, it seems to favor this for some reason. The weights do. I don't know why. That's so weird. That's just starting to drive me crazy here. Yeah, I don't know what to do about that, except twist this around like this. Yeah, that's probably best to just redo this. Yeah, it looks like it favors that. So I'm going to, oops, it didn't. Oh, so let me try that again. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bake this. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. I'm just going to remove that entirely and then reposition it. All right, so this is the hardest part, guys. You'll spend more time just trying to find a good pose that doesn't cause any weighting issues than anything. And I think that's fine. I think that works. Okay. Jesus Christ, dude. I was like losing my mind over here. I was like, come on, dude. Now I'm going to go into world space to adjust this. I don't like the way he's hunched over. And I think that looks a little bit better. All right. I guess we'll just have to leave that there. I'm just going to undo that. Actually, I need to paste this grip here. Uncheck mirror. Oh, so like I told you, you have to do this or it will not. And then you have to uncheck and check it again to refresh it. And now you can paste the pose. Okay, I'm not sure what happened to the hand. Suddenly it looks weird. Oh, make sure you turn the keyframe stuff on. Otherwise it won't update it. Yeah, I mean, so you can tweak it until you're content. I'm just going to leave it at that. Make sure your character isn't hovering because that'll transfer over when we're done. And once again, we're just gonna drag this out. And we're gonna go ahead and create our additive layer so we don't forget. We're gonna delete that last keyframe so we don't forget. And then we're gonna set this to be spawnable. And then we're going to attach it to the socket. We're gonna open up this and copy and paste this. You have to do it under the details with this selected. It won't let you copy it and paste it under this right here, just so you know. So the thing about aiming is if you want it to aim dead straight ahead, then your aim needs to be dead straight. So just so you know, if it's not dead straight, it actually won't be aiming dead straight. So what you'll do is go into the top down and you'll see these icons. They like to place these all in the center. I'm just going to move those off to the side. Ooh, well, this makes it hard because if you're... Yeah, so what we probably want to do is we'll just focus on getting it dead straight first, and then we'll rotate it. Yeah, so you'll see he's actually aiming aiming over this way diagonally. Oh my God, I hate the way that I have to go up and down instead of left and right with this. It just kind of, I don't know, I don't like it. Well, that doesn't work. I was hoping I could get the grid to get smaller, but the grid doesn't want to get smaller for some reason. Okay, so we just want that straight up and down, as close to straight up and down as we can get. And then in the back view, you also want this to be straight up and down. I think that's probably close enough. And then in this view, with the in-world rotation, not local, we could try rotating it at like a 45-degree angle. In fact, I'll just go ahead and do it at exactly a 45-degree angle. It doesn't really matter that much. Oh. There we go. And then, well, it looks like, okay. So we need to give this an animation. Yeah, so I'll add, this is the start, this is the range end, this is the frame at which it ends. So we're going to start it at the end. And yeah, so that digs into his body. That's not good. Let's try. Yeah. No, we want to rotate it in world space. If you rotate it in local, it'll get offset. Well, that's, yeah, so you're not going to be able to get this dead straight unless you have him standing real funny. Yeah, so aiming the bow dead straight, guys, is going to be, I've never had to aim a bow dead straight for a character. So this is something new to me. You could do it something like this. So if we angle it like that, now he can. Yeah, I think that would probably be the best way to do it. And I'm going to set this to local space. And I want the arm to be back like this. And I'm going to turn the snapping off. So you guys have been asking me to show you this stuff, so I don't want to hear anybody complaining about this being boring and slow and painful to watch. I'm actually going to angle this. Well, I guess that was probably about right, the way he had it angled up. So that's probably right too. But I still want to fix this, so I'm going to go into world. so that he's standing straight and tall. And as long as I lined it up and down, left and right, and I only rotated it this way, it shouldn't throw off the aim because I didn't angle it this way. So what I'm saying is I didn't rotate it in this direction here, like this. I didn't do that. So I'm thinking it should still be dead on accurate, but we would have to shoot a projectile from it to find out. And I'm not going to set it up so that he's actually shooting an arrow out of here for you guys. I'm already doing more than what I should for this video, so I need to keep this to a minimal. But we're done with this, and I'm just going to move this and make sure nothing is jumping around when I do that. Okay, so that was painful, but we got all these done. So now what we need to do is retarget them. So in my previous one, I think I actually had y'all create one of these, and I must have deleted it, but I'm going to create another one. I'm going to call it Steve to UEFN. And I'm going to shift right click this and shift left click there, and I'm going to replace this one with the UEFN IK rig. And I'm just going to, just for brevity's sake, I don't think I did match any of those, but I'm going to reset everything anyway just to make sure. I'm going to remove any offset on the arms. You don't want any offset on the arms. When you retarget, it'll offset this hand in that for that pose by 2 centimeters. We don't want that. For the legs, it's okay. For the legs, you want the legs to be touching the ground. So I'm going to come over here into the back view, and we need to raise these legs up. So I'm going to say 4 and -4. So it was easy for mine, but for yours it probably won't be. It looks like these are back a little bit. You could move those up a hair. Yeah, that looks about right. All right, so that should be good. So now what we're going to do is we're actually just going to retarget those poses. So I'm just going to right click on one of them and retarget animation. I'm going to uncheck auto generate retarget, and I'm going to say Steve to UEFN. It'll automatically fill this out for me. I'm going to copy this path and paste it, and I'm just going to retarget these. And I'm just going to retarget them back under here. Now, these might look funny on the UEFN, but they'll look right on your character. So just know, that's because of anatomy differences. This is kind of a hack so that we don't have to retarget all of the UEFN animations. These will look exactly like he's holding them in these. That's how it'll look like on the other side. So all right, so I need to set up some stuff for these. So I need to set up this stuff here. So for the bow, I'm going to copy this. Actually, I'm thinking I should, yeah, I'm just going to copy them over. And then I'll make a subfolder over here. And I'll call this settings for now. I don't know what else to call them. And then I'll move these here. And then I'll rename this to bow. And I'll rename this, well, I should have done a batch rename, but oh well, it's too late now. So I'm going to replace this with the skeletal mesh for the bow. This doesn't care if it's a mesh or a skeletal mesh. I mean, a static mesh or a skeletal mesh. That's why I named it mesh. It handles everything for you on the other side. Also, it stores a soft object reference as well. So that's a plus to it. But it gets loaded as soon as the actor is placed in the scene, just so you know. So this needs to be so I'm going to go under here. My bad, I'm like starting to zone out here, guys. Okay. I'm just going to call it a compound bow. Yeah. All right. That's actually not needed, but I'm going to fill it out anyway. So I'm just replacing this here. And now I should be able to just drop this into the scene. So before we can pick it up though, we need to set this up. So this is the chooser. And really you would probably delete all these entries in here until that character was actually able to hold this. You could always add them back later, but I'm just going to remove all that stuff from there. And that's the M9 that it's pointing at right now, but we need that to be pointing at this. And so this will be the settings for this character for holding this bow. And right now it's using the UE4 rifle right AnimSet. But we actually want to copy this over. And we're going to Yeah, we'll try this. You know what? We'll try this right here, and we'll see how this looks. We'll probably end up needing different layering settings. Oh yeah, we'll definitely need different layering settings. Yeah. So we're going to have to create some layering settings for this guy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this entire overlay folder over here. And I'm going to copy it. Wait, what are these called? Okay, I didn't name those. Oh, rifle, okay. Yeah, I did. Oops. Jesus Christ. I must really be starting to zone out. This is a really long one, guys. Rifle, bow. There we go. So we're going to start with standing, idle ready and moving ready, idle ready, moving ready, and then stand idle. Oh, I mean idle aiming, and then moving aiming. And now for the crouching. All right. So now we have our own personal settings for these, and we're just going to reuse the rifle AnimSet. All right. Now there is one thing that we need to do for these poses. We need to enable hand IK for this one and for the aiming. So I'm going to add metadata, enable hand RIK. I don't think I can copy and paste that. No, I can't. And the metadata just means that it's going to have a solid value of 1. That's all that means. It means it's just going to be on. Now it'll automatically blend in to 1. It's not just going to jump straight to 1. If this is blending in over like a quarter of a second, it's going to take a quarter of a second from it to go from this, for this curve to go from 0 to 1, just so you guys know. I'm not sure if you know that or not. For the relaxed one, we don't need IK. We don't want it either. So let's just see where we're at. I'm sure I missed probably 50 things. Okay. For one, it looks like he's holding a rifle. Okay, yeah, he's holding a rifle. I don't know what happened there. I must have not swapped. Oh, yeah. Okay. So let's go back to the... Let me just close all this. Jesus Christ, I got too much stuff open. I'm going to open this back up. And we need to set this to, yeah, that's what it is. We never swapped that out. So under the AnimSet, we're going to swap that out. Actually, I need to rename that. Steve bow left hand, requires 2 hands. It means you can't hold something with it. Now, I still have these fire and reload weapon M4A1 montages. I could remove those. I'll just remove this one, I guess. All right. All right. Okay. Now that doesn't look right because we don't have the bowstring drawed. So that'll be the next step, I guess. Oh, muzzle. Yeah, so socket. Yep, I forgot that. I'm glad I added this messages because even I overlooked that stuff. Jesus. I'll probably add more messages like that in the future, guys. But yeah, let's add a socket here. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, right here. Let's add a socket. No, we want the socket right here, actually. Muzzle. Let me just make sure that's lowercase. I don't think it's case sensitive, but I'm going to make it lowercase anyway. And I'm just going to bring it out a little bit. Whoa, what was that? Oh. Oh, I might have to look into that. Oh, that's probably going to be layering settings. Yeah, so it is off a little bit. We can adjust that though. It's not off that much though. It's just down and to the left a little bit. So the problem you've seen there, it has to do with our layering settings. We have not adjusted our layering settings. That's the reason why I created layering settings specifically for this bow, is because I knew there was going to be some problems there related to that. And that's because this is still assuming that we're holding the gun in the right hand and not the left. So we would need to now go through here and adjust these settings. So right now we're stand idle aiming. That looks like it would be okay. Let's check the moving aiming. Both of those are full overlay, both arms in both of these. So, wait. Oh, it's not, okay. I see. Okay. Okay, that has to do with the overlay amount. So this has a high overlay amount. And a low mesh space amount. Okay, that's starting to look a little bit better, I think. Yeah. And now we could stiffen this up a little bit, because the thing is when it's blending from this to this, that's where some of those problems come from. So we could say 0.6 or even 0.7, and you'll see his arms go out a little bit because he's respecting that pose more. But we could say 0.4 on this and then raise this up to the same amount, and that might not cause any problems. Yeah, okay. So it does kind of make his arms go off into the right a little bit. So what we could do is we could try switching this over to mesh space. Yeah, there we go. That doesn't look quite as bad. And yeah, so this whole problem right here around the wrist, that's kind of making it look a little odd from the back side right here because it's dipping down. And that's because our wrist is actually starting to collapse right here. Now that's going to be where a pose driver comes in, and that'll prevent that. Unfortunately, I can't actually show you a good example of that right now because it's setting those up is quite a task. If you thought this was a task, setting those up takes just about as long. So I'll have to make another video on how to do that, and I'll probably show you how to do that for this guy, so and demonstrate it on this weapon. But that won't be in a video today because, as you can see, it's already 8 p.m. and it's getting late for me, and I've been making these videos for hours now. So I'm trying to get all these videos made for you guys. So that part is fixed, but we're going to have more problems, and we'll address those as they come. Okay, so for some reason his hand is coming off whenever we start moving. But I know I have hand-eye key enabled right here for this. Now this could have something to do with the UEFN character too, though. We have not tested this on the UEFN character. So if the UEFN character's arms are locking right here, then it will cause this character's hand to come off. So that's one of the problems, because this guy's being live retargeted, and to some degree, he's actually following the UEFN character during all of this. I have not added the UEFN character to this chooser. Ooh, I deleted him from here. Yeah. We might need to actually test this on the UEFN character too, to make sure that his arms aren't actually locking and coming off. Actually, we could just simply unhide him from here. So I could probably do that from right here. Okay. Yep. Let's, okay. So let's just see if we can drop this weapon. Can we drop it? We can't drop it? Okay. Let me do it this way then. Because compiling that breaks, or doing that during runtime breaks it. So I'm just going to set it to be visible. And this will let us know if we're having any issues here. No, I don't see any issues. Okay. His arm is not locking. Okay. So that's not what's causing it. It's going to be layering settings. So I'm just going to uncheck that. And we're going to go back over here and pick this guy up. Yep. So it's going to be layering settings, something to do with the hand layering settings. So we're going to open up both of these. And we're going to look at the, okay, so the right hand has secondary motion. That's probably what's causing it. Yeah. That could be what's causing it. I can't be 100% sure. Let's see. We only have slight overlay on the spine, but as you've seen, there was no arm locking for the UEFN, so that shouldn't be a problem. We do have local space here. We could try mesh space. That can also throw things off as well, just so you know. Yeah. I might have to look into that. I'm not exactly completely sure why his hand is coming off of that. It shouldn't be coming off. Something else must be causing that. Maybe. Let me check the animations again. I'm pretty sure. I'm in. Oh. Wait, okay. Yeah, so we might end up having to create our own for this. I don't know why it's doing it. So I was just making an assumption there with that state there, but I was wrong. So you'll see that whenever we're moving, we're blending between the idle ready and the moving ready pose. But in actuality, let me see. Yeah, so that's like a partial blend, and it works fine for the rifle, but for this, it's probably not going to work. As you can see here, it's based off of speed, and it only partially blends right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this. And I'm going to put it under the AnimSet. And I'll call it bow. And then I'm going to go into my overlay state. And I'm just going to have it blend between this one and this one. But I'm going to have it blend fully. So that should be on the blueprint thread safe update. I'm going to set this down to like, I don't know, 250. We'll try something like that. Wait, did I even assign that? I probably didn't. No, so we need to assign this. Yeah. Okay, so now you'll see his right arm looks a bit funny, and well, he looks stiff in general. So we need to adjust the stand moving ready. And for this, we're going to we could set those to be 1.0. You could also probably do 0 but the thing is when you desynchronize the idle ready and the moving ready too much like this, when it's blending between those values and these values, and this one has 0 and the other one has 1, then it can actually cause some problems. So we actually might want to leave those as 1 and then just set this as local space. Okay, so it's kind of moving inside of them in some situations, and we can probably somewhat mitigate that by only putting this as 0.5%. I'll leave that at 1, but the left arm, we might want that to just be partially local space. And that should help a little bit. All right. So let's see. Now, yeah, so I haven't set up I haven't set this up so that you can actually like play animations on these. That hasn't been something I've actually considered until just now. So I might have to get back to you guys on that part of it, playing the animation on it. So I might just come back later if I like, after I've added some way of playing stuff on here and synchronizing it somehow between the character and stuff. That part is going to be a bit tricky because I don't have a whole lot of stuff exposed to this. So I'll have to provide some way for this to grab specific information from the character so that other actors can just grab the information that they need from the character based on their current stance, state, stuff like that. I am updating the character itself. The character blueprint itself is being updated on the stance of the character, and that's being updated by the linked anim layers. So if we go to the event graph, you'll see right here, oops, I didn't mean to move that. You'll see right here, it is updating the object stance of this linked anim layer. It's updating the character on that. So yeah. All right, guys, I think that's pretty much it for this video. I'll have to get back to you guys on, I think I showed quite a bit here in this video, but I felt like it was important. You'll see there's a bug there. We don't actually have this set up to be able to holster, and I think the reason why it didn't fall, let's see if we got a message log. No. Okay. So actually, before I go, let me just go ahead and show you guys. This needs some kind of collision, or you can't simulate physics on it. It may not actually have collision on the mesh. So it has a physics asset. It looks like it does have physics bodies. Okay. I might have to look. I might have to get back to you guys on that part of it. Yeah. There's likely a way to still simulate physics on this without it deforming and flopping around like it's a fish, you know, or like it's a rubber toy. But I would have to look into that because I'm not used to simulating physics on stuff like this that's not meant to flop around, you know, like it's rubber. and this is not a static mesh, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. Yeah, I might have to look into my setup too, because I'm actually just assuming that it's a static mesh whenever I'm simulating physics, and there might be some more logic I have to do for handling it for skeletal meshes. So that wasn't something I've actually considered until just now. That may be something I have to get back to you guys on. But yeah, that's very likely the reason why I didn't fall and hit the ground. I could like attach it to an invisible like cube mesh and then simulate the physics on the cube mesh. I could do something like that and it would work. But that would require me to like change some stuff in here. So if we go back to the master and we go to the setup mesh, you'll see it's casting to skeletal mesh. If it fails, it casts to the static mesh, blah, blah, blah. But right here, what you could do is you could add an extra attach, or instead of attaching the item mesh to the scene right here, you could attach it to this box maybe and simulate physics on this box. But this box, I don't know if you can simulate physics on this box. Also, this box is big, so you probably wouldn't want to. So you probably want to add a little cube in here, make it invisible, and attach it to the scene. And then right here, maybe you would attach this to the cube instead. And then you would have to go to where I'm simulating physics, and instead of grabbing the item mesh, you would grab the cube and simulate it on the cube. That would probably work, but I don't want to test that in here. Now, as far as the putting the bow away, if you go to the slot manager, yeah, so the slot manager, you'll see we have some stuff right here. Now I could create another slot here. I'll duplicate this one. 1 second, my phone's ringing. That is my alarm. Yeah, so I don't want... Yeah, so we'll call this bow. I don't know what's up with that, why it's showing that, but yeah, I'm thinking maybe. Oh, okay, that's the cube that I added before. I was wondering, I was like, why am I seeing a cube suddenly? I forgot that I had added that. Okay. So this is the bow slot. And I'll just use this bow slot as an example, but I'll go to the class defaults and I'll change this from that to bow. So only a bow can be placed in this one. The rifle can't be placed in it, but you could make it so that both the bow and the rifle can be placed in it. It's up to you how you want to handle that. You could also create an item data for this bow holster and do it that way. But instead, what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a bow to the rifle one, and that should allow me to attach it to the rifle slot. So if I press H, let's see. Okay, so I press H. it should be holstering it. Let me see. Oh, I went too deep. I'm going to close all this other stuff. I'm doing it again. I got too much stuff open. So let me just find my holster stuff. Yeah, this probably should be something that I should get back to you guys on, but either hand. What's calling this one? Oh, right. So if we tell if we tell it it's either hand, then it'll just try to holster both hands. Otherwise, you can just have it holster a specific hand. So I'm just going to create a breakpoint right here because this one's going to say not found, and I'll just skip ahead, and you'll see it says not found. And now this one shouldn't be saying not found, but apparently it's not being found. And you'll see it's the reaching hand is left. That's correct. Yep, the item we free is the bow. Right. So we have a bow. It's a compound bow. So it's going to look for a slot for that. So this might be my fault. This might be a bug in my own system here. It looks like a lot, guys. It is actually, but it's not something that runs on a tick, so don't freak out. There's a lot of logic you have to handle for something like this. This is the hip flashlight holster, and obviously that's not going to be it. Okay, it said it didn't find it. It should have found it. Oh. Because this is left-handed, and oh, okay. Okay, yeah, so, right, because you're holding it in your left hand, so you wouldn't actually be putting it behind your back like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another one. And I'm going to put it in, I'm going to set this one to left hand. And I'm going to put this to back R. And now what we're going to do is on this character here, we're going to create another and I'm going to call this one back R. And then I'm just going to invert this. Wrong way. Let's try inverting this. There we go. And so now you'll see we don't get one, but if I come over here to my event graph, you'll see on the slot manager, we're doing a slot setup here. And we're just going to add a second one. And this won't fail because there's two slots of type slot back. rifle. Right. Okay. So, I mean, it's a little out there, but that's because it's rotated. Let me just rotate this -90. Oh, no, wrong way. Definitely don't want to rotate it like that. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, I guess that doesn't look too bad. I mean, it does, but so if I holster it now, it should. Item holstered, good. There we go. Now it looks funny, but that's because I haven't configured it. This is configured for the rifle's orientation and not the bow's orientation. So that's the reason why it looks weird. But you'll see, I can press E now and he'll grab it with his hand again. Oops, it looks like it grabbed it with the wrong hand. Okay, well, I'm not sure exactly what caused that, if I'm to be honest with you. Because that might actually be a bug. I keep thinking I'm finding bugs, but I'm actually missing stuff. So I don't think yeah, I'm not sure why it would do that, guys. Jesus, let me see here. Item handling. This is turning into a really long video. I should probably just like call it quits and get back to you guys later on that. Let's see. Cycle. Okay, so that gets called on the event graph under pickup management. I believe this is where that's being called. Let me see. Well, not directly. It's actually being called from this event right here. And then that's calling the change state of hand. So if I yeah, so it's returning right hand for some reason, the slot manager is. I'll have to look into that. That might actually be a bug on my end. But the slot manager is actually the one responsible for that. The cycle holstering items, it's drawing the holstering items. So I could put it up and then try to cycle it again. Yeah, so I don't think this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get back to you guys on this, I think. Okay. Yeah, that's a bug on my end. Sorry, guys. I just assumed that if it requires a free hand, apparently I assumed that we need to occupy the right hand right here. So this would actually need to be grabbed from the item. So if it's So I'd probably need to verify that there's a right hand, and if there's a right hand, then we could, you know, we could say select right, otherwise left, you see. So I think that would something like that would probably work, but I believe there's probably a better solution than what I just did. That's just something I did on the fly real quick. And now it's occupying the left hand. Yep, there we go. So I'll fix that, but you seen how I went in there and fixed it, and maybe you learned something from that. So anyway, yep, this was a really long video, and yeah, this isn't like perfect right here. There are some issues with it, and I'm kind of thinking that we're going to need a different solution for hand on bow. Like maybe we would, because the hand is actually still moving around, because my universal aim offset, I think, was mostly working for two-handed rifles. It probably isn't the best for handling bows. It might actually be better if you used a custom aim offset for the bow. And I'll probably add that back, guys. I'll probably have the universal aim offset, but then I'll give you the option of setting up your own. Yeah, that's probably something I'm going to work back into the system, and it'll probably be part of the AnimSet. So I'll probably have a section in there where you can like set up aim offset poses, 2 aim offset poses, and I'll show you how to make them. And it'll just be like for the pitch, it'll be one where he's aiming up and one where he's aiming down. And then if those poses are available, then it'll use those instead of the universal. That's probably something I'll do. And I don't think I'll actually have to refactor anything as far as these assets, these data assets go. I don't think I'll have to refactor any of those in order to accommodate that, since I've allowed for tags for poses to be added and bound to tags. I can just take advantage of that without having to add anything to the data assets. That was the reason why I chose to set up those data assets the way I did, was so that I could easily expand that later without having to worry about refactoring it. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll see you later.